Hello, guys. Correction. Hola, my name is David.
Hi, I'm Javi. Good evening. Welcome to the first day of October. And
Whoa, a little scary there.
A little scary for the first day of October, but guess what? We're gonna be reviewing the movie It.
If you didn't guess by the red balloon,
They all
and if
float.
you don't know, guess what you need to go do after you watch this? Go watch it.
Go watch It, but go watch the 2017 edition, not the 1990 edition, which was awful. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, careful spoilers. We're gonna be talking about both movies, trying to compare them. So spoilers if you haven't seen the new 2017 edition.
Pause this right now
and go watch it.
Get into your car. Go to the movie theater. Get not a front row. Perfect seating, middle section.
Middle section.
Right in the middle.
Some snacks too.
Great view. Yes, can't forget about those snacks.
And
watch it.
Yes. Also, too, careful spoilers for the 1990 edition. No one cares about it, though, at least.
That's very true.
At least I don't. You care?
No.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, let's get into the reviews.
All right, guys. We are going to start with the characters, differences and similarities between the miniseries and the new 2017 one. All right? We're starting with, I will be starting with Mike. Mike is not to sound racist, but the black kid, unfortunately, yes. But the thing that I did not like, or that was a difference in in the new 2017 movie, was that Mike was not the research guy. Ben was. So in the 2017 version, he was almost like a useless character because he was not pretty much. He just hung around the group. That's all you really knew about him. The other difference was his parents are actually dead in this version. What else? I think that's it. But next character, Henry.
Henry Bowers, the bully.
Yes, the mean old son of a gun.
Very
but in this version, he is like 1,000 times more violent and racist in this version. Also, in the miniseries and the book edition, he actually gets blamed for everything that happens in Derry. But in 2017, he kind of disappears. He kind of dies. We don't know what's going to happen. So that's a mystery. We're still waiting to find out.
So I will start talking about the character of Beverly Marsh. Beverly Marsh is obviously the girl of the group in the Losers Club, and she seems to me to be the most adult one of the group because she deals with more realistic problems, especially with the household, especially with things like her dad. She comes from a very abusive home in both the 1990 and the 2017 edition. The biggest difference between those two is that in the 2017 edition, you can tell that she's being sexually molested by her father, and that is her biggest fear, which is actually why it never appears to her as the thing she fears the most, is that she already lives with that thing. So she gets over the fear of it very quickly, and it actually only capitalized on the fear after she hits her father with the toilet seat cover, and he appears to her, grabs her, and then kidnaps her. Bill. The character of Bill was very different in the 1990 edition from the new 2017 edition. The one difference that you will notice automatically is the stutter. In the 2017 edition, like, he is just stuttering from the beginning scene to the very end. In the 1990 miniseries, he gets over his stuttering by repeating a phrase, and you don't even realize he has a stutter until Mike calls him back to the town of Derry when he starts noticing that things have occurred after he finds the picture of Georgie, which is really when his stutter starts coming back. Another thing too is that in the 2017 edition, Billy almost seems to be kind of suicidal, looking for ways to almost die and put him out of his misery just from the attacks that happened on Georgie. But he really does overcome this towards the end when he actually starts standing up to it, and he becomes more of like a grown-up in that sense, taking responsibility for it and be like, hey, no, if I'm going to make a sacrifice for the group, then, so be it. But up until that point, it just seems like he was just looking for a way out. Yes. Yeah.
Next character is Richie. Richie is by far our favorite character.
Amazing character. 2017 Richie.
Yes, very true. He actually makes and molds the friendship together. He actually makes it seem like they actually know each other. They've been friends forever. But so again, Richie is the comedian of the group. Again, he is hilarious. Trust me, he makes a movie. In the miniseries, Seth Green actually plays him, but it is way underplayed. We all know Seth Green. He is a funny guy, but he is very, very underplayed in the original miniseries of it. Also, big difference is in the miniseries, Richie is afraid of werewolves, but in 2017, he actually admits that he's afraid of clowns, and it is technically a clown, but we all know that he's a shapeshifter. The next character is Eddie. Eddie, also known as the Mama's Boy.
Little frail Eddie.
Yes, the fragile boy. Um, you can tell Eddie is the smallest one of the group, so his mom is very overprotective of him. One big difference in the miniseries to 2017 is he ends up finding out that his mom has been babying him and actually giving him like fake pills to make him seem like he's actually sick.
Placebos.
Yes, and in 2017, there's a funny scene that he flips out on his mom talking about gazebo pills, but it's actually placebo pills because he actually finds out. But in the in the 2017 edition, he actually finds out by one of his classmates who actually works at the pharmacist. But in the original,
daughter.
Yes,
Yeah, I think it's his daughter. She was sitting over the counter with him.
But and then in the original miniseries, he actually finds out from the pharmacist that these pills actually don't do anything. So that's a big difference.
He also doesn't believe him, and he just kind of like rebels against her. Be like, no, it's my mom. She's protecting me.
Yes. So again, his biggest fear is his mother.
His mother, which is kind of gross. So the character of Ben, which I really enjoy the character of Ben, but in really both editions, just because he's like that new kid, which we all can relate to being the new kid. You know, just awkwardly trying to fit in. He finds the Losers Club. Fits right in with them. And right off the bat, develops a crush on Beverly, and he's actually. In the 2017 edition, you actually think that Ben might actually have a real shot with Beverly, just because he writes her poetry. They both like New Kids on the Block, and she constantly just teases him about it.
And she's the only one that knows.
She's the only one that knows too. Yeah, none of the other kids ever figured out that he likes New Kids on the Block, and it's kind of ironic that he actually is the new kid on the block. But the research role has actually been given to Ben in the 2017 edition, which takes away a lot from the character of Mike in this newer edition. But it'll be interesting to see how that will play out in the future, especially since Mike's the one that calls them all back to the town of Derry after they all have left. The character of Stanley, sorry, I can't talk. Character of Stanley. Stanley's a very interesting one after seeing the 2017 edition and then going back and seeing the original version, just because of the way that Stan develops as an adult. When Mike calls him back into the town of Derry, after hearing about this, it feels like Stan's the only one that's really affected by the trauma as a child. And unfortunately, he takes away his own life even before he even gets to the town of Derry. Immediately after he gets the phone call from Mike, goes upstairs, tells his wife that he's going to take a shower or a bath. Completely flips his attitude from, right before the phone call. And yeah, the next scene is just him taking his life, which is very tragic. But yeah, like you can tell there's a lot of deeper demons in there that the 1990 edition didn't dive into, which were left out. In this one, in the 2017 edition, you kind of see it a little bit more with his relationship with his father being, Jewish. He's also the pastor of their local synagogue. And, he kind of makes a comment saying like, my son can't even read from the Torah, which you could tell really affects him. And just the way that he kind of, you even tell by in the movie that he's holding back on a lot of things. So it'll be interesting to see the character of Stanley developed as an adult in It Part 2. Yeah.
And lastly, we are going to talk about Pennywise, aka It in general. So
Pennywise, the shape-shifting clown.
Yes. Big difference. Obviously, they changed his costume,
his
or
appearance,
pretty much. And the miniseries, he legit looks like a clown, your everyday clown that you would hire for your local
creepy
kids party or something like that. But yeah, he was like, he just fell in that role. But yes, he was just like a very creepy, just a creepy vibe from him.
Almost a Ronald McDonald like costume too.
Yes, and if you know a little bit about Stephen King, you could see why. in the 2017, I love his whole appearance and everything. I just think it made the movie just so much better because um, it like his whole appearance just fit everything like that they were trying to portray in with the book and everything.
It was more alien-like in a way, with the elongated forehead, the longer torso, the limbs. It was very almost Slender Man-like than anything else. Where Pennywise in the 1991 is a little bit more of like kind of just like a regular man dressed as a clown, and he felt a little bit more child molester than
Pretty much.
than anything else. But that was the one thing that really kind of like bugged me about Pennywise in the 1990 edition. Also, too, like I do think that Tim Curry is a good actor, but I don't like when people are just nostalgic for nostalgic reasons. And that's why I really do believe that this Pennywise is the best version of Pennywise that we're probably going to get in a long time.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, Bill Skarsgård did a really good job with playing the role of Pennywise. And actually, an interesting fact, the director purposely kept the kids and Pennywise separate until the day of filming, when the first film was actually him and I think it was Eddie having an interaction, and that was the first time any of the kids even seen Pennywise, so they just like literally saw him coming off onto the set, which is actually a really good idea because I think it did play a huge effect on just how they acted and the
initial reaction, because instead of working with and being surrounded by him for so long, it being a surprise, it actually came off as a scare to the kids.
Yeah. So, good job on directing.
Oh, yeah. Now, we're going to get to what we liked about the new version of it and comparing it to the old one. One big thing that I really loved about this movie was the storyboard. It was a linear progression throughout the kid's childhood. If you watch the miniseries, it's a flashback between adulthood and the children and their interaction with Pennywise. It was just a lot of back and forth, and just really have to pay attention. Also, it was a 3-hour long movie, so constantly just going back and forth, flashbacks to future, to present, all this and that, trying to pay attention. It's very hard.
It made it incredibly hard to sit through, and it made it really confusing too, because at times you were kind of mixed up between whose story you were watching, and it really just didn't really do justice to it. It worked in book form, but not in movie form, especially when you're trying to do this for like a 3-part miniseries. Like, it really backfired on him, I think. That was, like, one of the weaknesses of the 1990 edition.
Yes. Another thing that I really enjoyed about the new version was the group, the Losers Club, as they call themselves. Just the chemistry that they had with each other, it actually made it seem like they were legit friends outside of filming.
It felt more organic.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So going into likes and dislikes we had about both films, one thing that I really enjoyed about the movie is the character of Pennywise, like we said earlier. But in the 2017 edition, I really like the fact that Pennywise seemed like you could actually defeat him, whereas the 1990 edition, you didn't know if you defeated him or not, because he almost seemed like this other kind of big entity, which he is in the book, but in the movie version of it, they quickly figure out that it's like, hey, Bill's the one that figures it out, but it's like, you know, if you're not afraid of him, it's not real. He can't hurt you.
Yep.
And that really played a huge role in the 2017 edition, just because like you could feel like you felt like they actually did defeat him and they actually did figure it out. Where, you know, in the book, in the 1990 edition, like that wasn't the case. Where it was just this like otherworldly presence, and it came back. You know, because it comes back every 27 years after resting. It feeds for 2 years, comes back every 27 years, and then, you know, the whole thing starts all over again. But yeah, the 2017 edition really did a good job of just making them believe that Pennywise can be defeated just by the fact that it's not real, and if you're not afraid of him, he can't get you. Another thing I really enjoyed about this film is that this film, the 2017 edition, really did a good job with pacing the entire movie. Yes. It was a 2.5-hour movie, and we were a little hesitant about it at first.
Yeah, because again, you know how remakes nowadays are very hit or miss. We were driving actually to get food, and we were just like, hey, it's out.
Yeah, we're like, let's go see it.
Let's go see it.
And we almost didn't, just because of the runtime, and like it was just a rash decision. It was late. We weren't trying to stay out that late.
Exactly.
But it was a 2.5-hour film, so we're kind of like, do we really want to watch it? Like, we don't know how it's going to be. But yeah, the film did a really good job with pacing it. There was no slow moments. At no time did I feel like any drag. Like, it kept on going. Like, from beginning scene to ending scene, like, it just was a nice, decent, good flow. All right, things I didn't like about the movie was that it just dragged, like the flashback to present day to
Yes,
flashback.
he's talking about the miniseries.
The miniseries, yeah.
Yes, again, it's very confusing, and unless you're paying really attention to which flashback or present moment you're in, it's really hard because again, it's just constant back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
And it made it hard to sit through, and that's what really like just kind of took you out of the film originally. And like I said, it works. It works great in book form, like
Yes.
literature form. You know, it's great because you get a little bit more detail out of that. But just movie wise, especially with a 3 hour series that was broken down into an hour piece, like it just did not go well for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
what were your likes, David?
Talked about the likes. A couple things I did not like about the new version was Mike's role. Again, if you watch the original miniseries, you know that Mike actually has all the research on Derry, talking about all the disappearing kids, just the history of the town. And in the new 2017, that role actually gets taken on by Ben, being the new kid. I feel like
Sitting in the library all day.
yeah, sitting in the library, but him being the new kid, he has to have something that the kids are kind of wanting, like to know from him. So, pretty much in the 2017, Mike kind of just like is the background um, of the kid. Like he's literally just like you don't really know much about him. Well, you do because of the history, but
It's
in the movie,
it's a very small amount what you do know about Mike.
yeah. And again, it's just it made it seem like they only portrayed him in the movie because of the racism
Derry.
in the Derry, obviously, but in the book and all of that. But again, his role was very, very small. They almost could have just taken that character out. It made it seem like.
And honestly, yeah, towards the end when he brings the gun, like I felt like that was his only big major role was just him bringing the cattle prong gun to the fight.
Yes.
But yeah, very underutilized character too. That was probably like the one low point of the movie. But other than that, though, yeah, the movie did such a great job. What were some of your likes though? Oh, did you? Dang.
Now what we're gonna do is give our predictions to part 2 of it. So I believe again, if you haven't seen it, first off, go watch it. It's a great film. But at the end of the film, you actually see Mike and Henry get into a fight, and Mike pushes Henry into the well, which is how deep was that?
That was a pretty long.
That's a long way down.
Fall.
Long way down,
and the kid also bounced like a basketball down the well too.
So his disappearance in will he make a presence in it? I believe he will, just for the fact that Pennywise has control over the whole town and anyone who has fear. But as you see, Pennywise almost takes control over Henry in the end of but mostly of Henry at the end of the film. So I really believe that he actually is going to make a comeback somehow. We'll just have to wait and see how. Obviously.
Actually, you know what? Something I didn't realize. When Henry did fall all the way down, Pennywise also went down further down into his lair. So maybe he meets Henry down there.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
We'll find out.
As far as my predictions for the new movie, I feel like Henry is probably dead. That's just me. He bounced. I know it's the golden rule is like if you don't see them die on screen, then they're not really dead. I do believe Henry's dead. Part 2, I think that they're gonna dive into the character a little bit more of Pennywise. I think you're gonna see a bit more of his interactions with like the original townfolk that lived in Derry. They're gonna give like a little history.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
A little bit of history of Pennywise because that was actually in the original screenplay for the movie. Why they didn't do it, I don't know. But I really do believe that they're going to open up with either Pennywise. I feel like Mike will probably have a bigger role to play in part 2.
I hope.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
I like the character of Mike, so I hope that he will actually do that. But as far as prediction goes, though, like there are 2 deaths in the 1990 version, which is Eddie and Stanley.
Yes.
Oh, shit. Is it Eddie? Yeah, it is Eddie. No. Crap. I'm sorry.
No. Eddie's the mama's boy.
Eddie's the mama's boy.
Stan.
Wow. I didn't get that on camera.
It's okay. Very cool. We're only speaking facts. We only speak facts. So, those were the 2 people that actually died in the film. But I believe that actually Mike will die. Because, again, they can't talk. But they made it seem like his character was not as important, so they can almost just kill him off in part 2 because it would just be an easy ending for him because again, you don't really know much about him. All you know, his parents died in the house, in the blackout fire, and that's about it. And he's the number one person to get picked on because how racist Derry is.
Also, too, Mike in the 1990 edition, he does get stabbed by Henry Bowers. Henry Bowers ends up breaking out of jail, and Mike.
True.
Yeah.
So that's it. So then Henry
might go to the way because he is in the hospital for most of the third part of the act. So maybe Mike dies. I hope not. Like I said, I really like the character of Mike. So death predictions for me. I really believe that Ben's gonna probably die. In the movie, Mike does get stabbed by Henry Bowers. And it's the role of the researcher. So I think Ben might actually meet the same fate as Henry in the 1990 edition. Ends up in the hospital or dying for most of part 2. But yeah, I think that Stan probably won't commit suicide. You'll probably see him encounter it one more time as an adult. I think he will die though, but because there is a lot of like inner demons with Stanley, and I think that'll play more of a role in part 2. So I don't think he'll commit suicide like he does in the 1990 edition, like I said, but I think he will play a big part in the Pennywise fight in part 2. Just I don't know how it's gonna happen. I just have a feeling because yeah, Stanley has a lot of like inner demons, like I said.
True. Also, I predict, if you guys know about the original series, Ben and Beverly actually end up falling
together.
In love.
Yeah, they leave Derry together.
Leave Derry together. But I don't think it's gonna be that way. I think it's gonna be Bill and Beverly. Ooh. Because if you see the chemistry that they build throughout the entire movie, you feel like there's something growing there that we just have to wait and find out and see.
Also, too, I feel like they're not going to be as successful as they were in the 1990 edition.
Yeah, ironically, they all were like millionaires.
Except for Mike, because Mike's the only one that stayed behind. But yeah, they were all pretty successful adults for going through a very traumatic childhood experience like that.
Yeah, so I think that he makes a very good point. You might see in the part 2 edition, they actually go through, or them going through the struggles of their later life.
It'll have some big repercussions in life later.
Oh yes.
Especially with Eddie and Stan. I think those two will probably have the most to deal with. Oh yeah. Yeah, especially because Eddie with his mom issues and Stanley with like the whole dad issue too. But yeah, that's just our prediction.
All right, Javi. So 1 out of 10, what do you rate this?
I give it a solid 9.
Yes.
Very solid 9. High 9.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
everything.
Probably...
Oh, sorry, we didn't talk about. But honestly, another great scene in the 2017 is the opening scene when Georgie, Bill's little brother, gets taken or eaten by it. And we actually just watched it like less than 20 minutes ago because that scene is just, it puts you on the edge of your seat, but you want to find out what's going to happen next.
Really pulls you into the film too, because the minute that opening scene happens, it just has your attention like that.
Oh yeah.
Which is great.
And again, that's why I love this new version of it, because if it was similar to his old version of, again, your standard traditional clown, it wouldn't have made it so costume. Interesting. But seeing everything that they did with this new version of Pennywise, it was
phenomenal.
Phenomenal, perfect, on point. Again, it put you on the edge of your seat. You literally did that really just happen? Like, wow.
Probably my favorite movie of the year so far.
Yes.
Yeah, probably the best movie I've seen this year so far.
Yes. And again, I agree with him. We give it a 9 out of 10. And again, it being a remake, highly, highly, highly recommend go watch it. If you have not seen it, go do that. If you have interest in watching the original series or the original mini-series, just know it is 3 hours long.
It's a drag.
It's very drag.
And I wouldn't say don't watch it in one sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't watch it in one sitting.
Sporadically. Do it like Netflix. Asleep. Do it like Netflix. Watch an episode, half an hour here, half an hour there. There you go. Because again, it's really hard to pay attention. Again, constant back and forth, present, future, all of that. It's very
a mess.
constant.
Works book form, doesn't work movie form.
Yes.
And it shows. Also, too, at the end of the film, when we reach the end, we're going to be giving away our copy of the original It that we saw. We've only seen it once, so it's pretty much new.
It's brand new.
It's brand spanking new. It's a Blu-ray copy of it.
It is a Blu-ray.
It's a very nice copy.
Fancy.
Yeah, and we'll sign it too if you want.
Yes.
Leave a little note.
And we're gonna give you the what do you call those?
The pop vinyl too.
Yes, the pop vinyl of it.
Of the 2017 edition of it, not the original Pennywise pop vinyl. I don't even think they make one, honestly.
No, I wouldn't.
I haven't seen one. But yeah, if you want that, like, it's a cool little prize. We're gonna give you the movie, the toy. Just we'll randomly pick somebody. Leave a comment below. We'll figure it out, and then we'll send it off to you.
Okay. So again, this was our first movie review, but it will not be the last. This is October 1st.
October 1st, today
is the month of Halloween. So we will
All
be
Hallows
doing,
Eve.
Yes, we are going to be doing a Halloween-themed movie review.
Best movies of Halloween from childhood to present day, whatever order, we'll be reviewing them.
Correct. And we will be dressing up. So if you have any suggestions of what we should dress up, comment below.
Oh, too, we'll also be reviewing our favorite Halloween snacks, because nothing says movies and holidays like a good snack.
That's true.
Exactly.
Oh, and
it's more than just popcorn.
Possibly, maybe carving a pumpkin.
Oh, yeah, carving a pumpkin video.
Yes.
Who knows? We're gonna get crazy with this, guys.
Again, I am David.
And I'm Javi.
We want to thank you for your time. Again, it's not gonna be. This is our first. Won't be the last movie review. Thank you so much for all your time. Have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, night, whatever.
Evening for us.
Yes.
It's like midnight.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Much love.
They're like, They all float. Did I get it?
They float too. We will all float too. Ha ha. What are you doing? It's my balloon, bro.
Oh, sure, balloon, bro.
You see this guy? So ignorant. Suck it.
Holy shit.
This is his first time, guys.
Whoa.
Can't find the hole.
A boy. I sound like a minion. I'm Paul. Hi, I'm Paul. We gotta get this on the snaps. Hi, I'm Paul. That's hilarious.